against John Higgins. The best of 7, of course, to go through. The defending champion, Mark Allen, to play the winner. It's a very extensive and tight rivalry, this one. This is their 28th meeting. Higgins edges the head-to-head 14-13. But he has won the last 4, Stephen, so he's got the momentum. But Ding, on the other hand, has got a match under his belt and he's used to the table.
Yeah, but he's going to have to play a lot better tonight than he did in his first match. Okay, you would expect him to, because he knows he's up against one of the greatest players of all time. He wasn't really put under any pressure in the first match, but he's still got to... It still doesn't really make you, confident if you've come through a scrappy match, even though he's had time on the table. Go in recent form as well, it'd certainly make John a strong favourite for this match.
Yes, Higgins has been to a couple of big semi-finals already this season. The British Open, where he lost to Anthony McGill. And the title match at the International Championship, where of course he was defeated by the richly gifted Wu Yize for his maiden ranking title. So Higgins has been much the more consistent of the pair this season. Ding, of course, ended that 5-year ranking title drought by winning the International Championship last season. It's normally at this sort of time of the year when Ding really comes to life. Of course, he's won the UK Championship 3 times, and that's just round the corner.
It's already got the makings of possibly a scrappy frame here, the way that red has gone towards the left corner pocket. Not available to pot. John looking to move it. I'm sure he can't get through to pot it. Yeah, just playing the contain and safety. Played it pretty well. First 3 matches today, all 4-0. I don't expect this one to be 4-0.
Great victory for Sean Murphy, a rare one over Ronnie O'Sullivan, just his 4th against the Rocket.
Got a little view there of Ding Junhui's chalk. I said in his first match today, I think it's definitely a first for a top player to use what looks like pink chalk. I presume it's the newer branded chalk that doesn't leave marks on the cue ball, because that'd be quite off-putting for his opponent, I would have thought. Example there of the weakness in Ding Junhui's game that's sort of very, very quick. Got away with it. Got the cue ball back to safety, but nowhere near the pot. But because he's so deadly when he gets in amongst the pink and black, scores so heavily, that's why he's still at the top of the game. He's savage scoring. Still no reds being potted, so the dream 167 is still alive. You can see the gold ball next to the cue ball. The way the reds are situated, if you could get, it wouldn't be a bad chance to score heavily.
An excellent crowd today here in Riyadh, one of the best we've seen here in Saudi. Of course, this tournament was first staged in March of last year and then again in December. We've had two Saudi Arabia Snooker Masters, the big ranking event with $500,000 to the winner, Neil Robertson, having bagged that prize this season. Excellent cueing from Higgins, not easy. That's an early confidence booster for him. And there's the small matter of $250,000 for the winner after the 3 days of this event. Quarterfinals tomorrow, of course.
John Higgins, 1.
There was no value in potting the blue to the yellow pocket because there was no reds available to the left corner. That's why John refused it, played safe. Didn't play a great safety, to be fair. This is a better one from Ding Junhui because he's covered the right side of the table. I think the red furthest up the table, John can play off and get back to bulk.
That was a long way off, not easy, dead straight, a real test of cueing early in the match, and Ding didn't get close. Hasn't found his long potting as yet today, even though, of course, he won all 4 frames in his earlier match against Ayman Al-Amri, the Saudi wildcard. The first frame he could have lost, the second was pretty tight as well. Made a couple of breaks, he finished with an 84, but he would have been mindful of the need to raise his game if he was to beat Higgins this evening.
Well, it's not been the best start, has it, to this match so far? A bit scrappy. No easy chances, you'd have to say, for either player, but However pots they've gone for, they've not really got close.
Last season was a big deal for Higgins. He'd gone nearly 4 years without a ranking title and was maybe beginning to doubt whether he still had what was necessary to cross the line in a big tournament. But of course he put that right by winning the World Open, which he described as pivotal in terms of restoring his self-belief that he could do that. And then of course he followed it up pretty much straight away at the Tour Championship by winning that as well, and winning the last 5 frames to win that title from 8-5 down against Mark Selby. So a big return to form, and tournament winning form, more to the point, for Higgins last season.
John's looking to see if he can come off the left side cushion and pot this red. It's over the left corner. Not sure if he can get the cue ball out wide enough once it makes contact with the cushion. No, so it's a containing safety shot again.
There's a close-up of that chalk that Stephen was talking about. Very cagey start to this opening frame then, and the table already looking pretty messy. Things very congested in this left-hand corner of the table as we look. So John Higgins breaks the impasse. He made the quarterfinals of the inaugural version of this tournament, but it wasn't a happy occasion. Whitewashed by Ronnie O'Sullivan. He didn't pot a ball in that match, Higgins, but no one's come closer than him to achieving the 167. He got down to the final yellow, didn't land on it, and that's where the break ended, 120.
There was a much easier red, of course, to pot than the one he did, but you can see now, having potted the trickier red to middle, he's now really opened up the table. Black's going to go in the pink spot, which is not a problem. Just finished with a slightly awkward angle in the black. There's not many reds go to this left corner. Now, I presume the red that's closest to the cushion goes into the left corner. Just by the way he played that, screwing the cue ball onto the cushion. Get to the other one, the one that's closest to the corner pocket, so no problem with the red. Just judging the cue ball here. As you can see, there's a lot of reds. It's a very congested area, that left corner of the table, so it's just got to be careful. Try and get the cue ball. They go the one that's closest to the corner pocket, so no problem with the red. Just judging the cue ball here. You can see there's a lot of reds. It's a very congested area, that left corner of the table, so it's just got to be careful. Try and get the cue ball, negotiate it through a gap. Well, in the end, he felt he couldn't get the gap, so
24.
Decided to just play the more aggressive shot. Kind of a bit of hit and hope to it, where the cue ball was going to land up. He didn't really know much about where the cue ball was going to end up. He's got a choice of 3 colours: brown, blue or black. Blue's the easiest one, obviously.
$29. $30. Thank you.
Wow.
John Higgins, 30.
Didn't quite have the legs to make it, so the break ends prematurely for Higgins. Reached the pocket. We've talked about the fast conditions here in Riyadh. Not fast enough for Higgins on that occasion. And now Ding leaves the red over the hole. Curious opening frame in this match.
Yeah, curious is one way to describe it.
One.
Well, that's, you know, I presume he can get off the cushion first and get to the black, but I'm sure that wasn't the plan. Controlled that quite nicely.
8.
Should win the frame from here. But yeah, it's been very scrappy stuff so far.
This is Higgins' 6th shot with the rest in this opening frame. He's missed 2 of the previous 5.
Nine.
Hasn't made his impression here in Saudi in the way he would have liked up until now, Higgins. Relatively early exits in both of the Saudi Arabia Snooker Masters. Round of 32 in both. Lost to Jimmy Robertson in 2024 in that ranking event, and then Elliot Slesser this season.
40. $15.
And another relatively straightforward pot
John
goes
Higgins,
astray.
50.
So this is one of those frames which, for quality, is instantly forgettable. Higgins with a healthy lead.
Six. Seven.
When he pots the pink, it'll go back in its own spot. Leave an angle to... Well, in fact, he had the angle straight off the pink to try and bring the black into play. Just get a slight feeling that Ding's decided to be aggressive and pick up the pace a little bit. The opening plant was a great shot. It was aggressive shot choice because it wasn't guaranteed. Tough ask to win the frame from this visit, but Ding Junhui at his best, you'd definitely say it was a strong possibility. But so far today he's been anything but at his best. And that's another very, very poor miss, you have to say.
Ding Junhui, 30.
So Higgins gets a further opportunity to put this rather scrappy affair away.
1. Seven. Eight.
So just this blue, and Ding will need snookers. Just the one, so the frame's not done yet. It's been going nearly 30 minutes.
John Higgins, 13. One.
Ding surely needs a colour here, otherwise the frame will be over.
Six.
It's now a couple of snookers for Ding.
Ding Junhui, 6.
When it comes to strategy, there are a few in the history of the game who are finer than John Higgins, so to get two successful snookers, very, very difficult for Ding.
black is obviously the optimum snookering ball, where it is to lay a good snooker. Green's not bad either. The way the brown, blue and pink are on a line, I think it's going to be... You wouldn't fancy Ding leaving a pot on anytime soon. But obviously, he needs to lay good snookers to win the frame. It's good effort. Again, as you see, taking the red up in that line, he's never going to leave John a pot at the red. Knocked the black into a less favourable position to lay a good snooker behind. So things not getting any easier for Ding Junhui in this frame. I think sometimes if I was in Ding's position, I'd be quite tempted to concede and get on with the next frame, because it's not been a good frame to remember for anybody actually, but Ding as well. So just try and sort of erase the memory and start the next frame with a clean slate. That red will seal it.
The next frame will be imminent now, yeah, with that red going in. These two players have made nearly 1,800 career centuries combined. Scoring is their forte. It's not been that sort of frame. Things went awkward early on. There was a series of errors. But Higgins has always been on the front foot, and he's finished the job now.
John Higgins 6.
A very scrappy affair, but John Higgins won't mind too much because he's won it. Frustrating frame for Ding. And it's the 4 times world champion who's on the board first in his bid for a place in the quarterfinals here at the Riyadh season. Unable to get the snookers he needed at the end to force his way back into contention. So 1-0 Higgins. The winner, remember, to play the defending champion here at the Riyadh Season Snooker Championship, Mark Allen. All 4 quarterfinals coming your way on Thursday. Kyron Wilson will play Neil Robertson. Judd Trump will play Mark Williams. And Sean Murphy, conqueror earlier very impressively of Ronnie O'Sullivan, will play the world champion Zhao Zintong. And again, Ding a long way off with that attempted long red.
I thought he might have been tempted to play for the black. They're not. Obviously, the 1-6-7 comes into the equation, but only for the fact that he wouldn't have had to hit it as hard, and he could have fully committed to the pot. Okay, he was leaving reds on should he have missed, but at least, you know, threw himself at that pot and got nowhere near it, and he's left John in anyway. So what's that cue ball to stop?
1.
You'd have to say it's not easy for players coming on at, you know, almost midnight local time. Ding's played a game, of course, so he's got less of an excuse, but John obviously hanging around all day. It's a long time to wait to play, and sometimes it's hard to get yourself focused and ready when you don't know what time you're going to play. Ding must feel at the moment he doesn't really want to be left a long pot, because he's all at sea, technically. He's just not cueing them well at all.
Both players in the 70s as regards pot success at the moment.
One.
But Higgins certainly looking the more convincing of the pair. Well, actually, Ding's pot success is down below 50 now. Goodness me.
I was going to say just. John's the most convincing of the pair. Just. Whereas the only positive of that last frame is, as long as you win it, you can try and put it to the back of your mind. Ding, unfortunately, didn't win it. So he's still full of negative thoughts at the moment.
He's never had a problem scoring in this tournament previously, Ding. In fact, he owns the 2 highest breaks in the previous 2 versions of this tournament, including a 1-4-3, which he made against Shaun Murphy when he whitewashed him in the second round in December of last year. But look at that. It's a real struggle at the moment for both of them.
Yeah, Shaun Murphy in the first match made the game look easy. In both his matches, actually, 2 centuries in his match this afternoon. These 2 players are making the game look, well, actually what it is, a very difficult game, but they're making it look like it.
Yeah, Murphy was quite brilliant, particularly his long potting. He created so many chances for himself with his long game this evening. Shut O'Sullivan out by and large. You can tell he's just completely lacking in confidence at the moment, Ding, with the way he's cueing. He didn't look like he fancied that pot when he got down to take it on and didn't get close again.
One.
Just one ranking quarter-final appearance this season for Ding Junhui. He's down in 23rd place on the 1-year list. Higgins, on the other hand, who, of course, has made that final recently in Nanjing, is in 11th, so looking to well and truly cement himself in the coming couple of months in those Players Series events coming up in the new year, for the top 32, 16 and 12 respectively, World Grand Prix Players and Tour Championships.
No.
John Higgins, of course, one of the 3 class of 92, as we call them, with Mark Williams and Ronnie O'Sullivan. And the reason all 3 of them are still at the top of the game is because even when they're not at their best, still able to enough good play to win matches. Just all three of them
20.
incredible competitors.
And still ranked, all three of them, in the top 6. Williams 4, Sullivan 5, Higgins 6. Williams, of course, in action against Judd Trump tomorrow, a replay of that
25.
extraordinary final at the Saudi Arabia.
Well, again, you have to say it was a terrible shot. I mean, you can't say anything else. He had all the room in the world coming down the right side of the table to land on at least blue or pink. It's just one of those games. We've all had them. You just find it so hard to string good shots together, good pots and good position.
John Higgins, a 32.
Ding's highest break so far, just 13. Well, that was very well cued from Higgins. Hardly at his brilliant.
Yeah, that was by far pot of the evening so far for John Higgins, that red. And the blue was not a bad shot either.
And very much firm favourite to make it 2-0 here. The table in his favour with awkward reds in case of an error. It's going to be very difficult for Ding to put together a telling counter as things stand at the moment, even if he gets the chance to.
12.
Yeah, I suppose Ding And his chair clinging to the hope that John needs one more red after this, and none of the reds are easy, in easy positions. The obvious one is the one up towards the left corner. But it's only the red that John needs. And that's the best positional shot he's played tonight so far.
90.
Made the red unmissable, which wasn't easy.
Well, he's been very busy with the rest this evening. This is a key one, though. Barring a snooker, it'll make it 2-0. But no cigar. And that's been rather typical of the evening. Higgins shaking his head. Yes, he's been the better of the two, but that's not saying a great deal.
Well, I thought he'd made the red unmissable. Tall order for Ding to win this frame still. Wow. I don't think I've ever seen Ding Junhui play this bad. He can't hit the jaws of the pocket. There's a few Chinese in the audience. Obviously Ding will be their hero. And they're not seeing much to cling their hopes to at the moment.
So 53 the difference, 59 left.
Let's see if Ding doesn't have to hit this hard. Can you just cue it in smoothly? Nothing to do with the cue ball, really. Yeah, that was better. Right in the middle of the pocket. That'll make him feel good. Whether it does enough for him to make him completely turn this game around, I don't know, but it would make him feel good, that red. Or better, I should say. The problem with the two reds in the left cushion needs an angle on a colour. If he can just get past the black here, which he can, he should be able to leave himself a natural angle.
No.
So there's a chance he could possibly bring both reds off here. And all of a sudden, from nowhere, becomes favourite to win the frame.
.36 the difference. So this has got to go. Well played. There's been very little for Ding fans to cheer so far this evening, but there's just signs of a little revival here. It will be some oh dear.
Ding Junhui, 24.
He fully committed, didn't he? The pace he played it at, he knew there was a chance of leaving it on should he not get the double. I mean, that camera view looks like the red's hanging over the pocket, but I don't think it's quite as it seems, because John would certainly have played it by now. A little shake of the head as well. Yeah, it wasn't on. Excellent safety shot. Excellent cue ball. Okay, maybe he didn't plan for the red to collide with the blue, but good cue ball.
Well, it wasn't just about hitting the red there, it was about not leaving it, and that's a pretty good result for Ding, who holds his hand up. He'll take anything he can get right now in a bid to kickstart this match, which so far has been a major source of frustration to him. But if he could nick this frame, then he can start again in frame 3. No damage done. Higgins will be thinking this should have been over a few minutes ago. Seems to have played the perfect shot to land right behind the final red. Missed it with the rest. Higgins just needs the red. And belatedly he gets it. So it is going to be 2-0 to John Higgins. His highest break is just 32. Wet and tears, really. But Higgins has certainly been the better of the two. First frame lasted nearly 36 minutes. This one's been going over 24.
John Higgins, 5.
Two snookers required. Ding battling on here, but it's such a tall order when you're playing John Higgins, and you need a couple of snookers with only the colours to play with. And that just about sums up Ding Junhui's evening so far. Nothing has gone to plan for him. He looks shy of confidence, even though he came through comfortably earlier against the wild card. But John Higgins was always going to be a rather different proposition. And although Higgins is well below par, he's doing enough at the moment for last season's International Championship winner. 2-0 down, first to 4, to play Mark Allen in the last 8 here in Riyadh. Earlier on, we saw an outstanding display from Sean Murphy to score just his 4th victory over Ronnie O'Sullivan by whitewash. And in the process, make it 8 frames out of 8 for the day for Murphy.
A kind of half-hearted attempt at the pot for John. He knew if he got it, he'd be on the black. He wouldn't have had an easy black from sort of low down the table, but it was a chance. It's the kind of match that you feel if one player starts playing well, it'll make the other player sort of kick into gear. It happens so many times.
Golden ball, slightly disturbed away from the ball cushion. Just a reminder that it only becomes a legal ball with 15 reds and blacks and potted, all the colours. Ding hasn't been able to buy a long pot this evening, and worse for him, the reds come back down the table into a potable position for Higgins.
Yeah, it looks like he's got a nice angle in the red to come down for black. So we know John's come the closest to achieving the, which has been impossible so far, getting to the yellow last year. And well, this shows you he's here to win the match. He's not going to take liberties because he has got a pot in the black, thin one, but he's prioritizing the frame and the match by taking the pink here.
as tantalising as that Golden Ball prize is, there's a small matter of $250,000 for winning the tournament, and it's only over 3 days.
It goes against what he said to me in a pre-match interview. He said if the risk was there, he was going to take it.
Pragmatism kicking in.
Maybe it's what we've seen so far, saying neither player's played well at all. Maybe he just doesn't feel in the mood or confident enough to actually do it. He just wants to win the match.
16.
As long as you're in the tournament, you've got that outside chance of achieving it. The 1-6-7. Very difficult to achieve it on the plane home.
It was certainly a lucrative campaign for Higgins last
21.
season, earning in excess of $640,000 on the table. Aside from those 2 ranking titles, of course, he came about as close as you can to making another Crucible semi-final, denied by his fellow class of '92 great Mark Williams in that epic quarter-final on the final black, having missed match ball blue.
22.
But overall, in spite of that disappointment, it was a resounding success last season for Higgins, after what he described as some dark days during those 4 years when he didn't win a ranking title. Came close on numerous occasions, beaten in 5 finals, 3 of them when he was within a frame of victory. But he never lost the belief. He kept plugging away and backed himself that eventually, if he continued to do the right things, his luck would change, and that proved to be the case.
This is more like it from John Higgins.
It's already his highest break of the evening, which says it all, really.
35.
Yeah, black's in the open. Played a nice shot 2-3 shots ago from the black to open the reds up a little bit. 2 open reds to either side of the bunch, but the possibilities of reds into the middle pockets.
36.
Higgins has made 11 centuries this season, up to 1,050 for his career. The second player, of course, to make it to 4 figures after O'Sullivan, just pipping Judd Trump to the post. Neil Robertson, of course, has added his name to that list since.
Yeah, that's worked out perfectly. That shot that paves the way for this 3rd frame for John Higgins. Say this has been more like it. He's picked up the pace a little bit in this frame. Okay, it's been a more orthodox frame. He's been round the black spot for most of it, but still, just the body language looks a lot more positive, as you would expect. 2-0 up on a best of 7, but this has been more like the John Higgins we know. Such a prolific break builder in his career, John Higgins. Everyone talks about his all-round game and his shot selection, his tactical nous, but at the end of the day,
60.
So after a couple of pretty arduous frames,
67.
this one has been very different. Night and day stuff. Higgins in full flow. Just needing this red. Ding will be at the snooker's required stage again.
68.
Through the side door somewhat, but in nevertheless. The black to make sure, and then he can focus on what looks like being a big century.
$75. 76. 83. 84. 91.
John addresses the cue ball when he cues. Completely different to any other player in this tournament. The tip of the cue is always a long way from the cue ball.
92.
As you watch all the other players involved in this tournament, when they address the cue ball, the tip is almost touching the white. It's just the unique way that John Higgins plays snooker.
99.
This for the ton then.
100.
It's taken a while to see some real top-class snooker in this match, but Higgins has certainly delivered it here. He's had to battle away in the first two frames. This has been much more like it from him.
106.
The thing about these best of sevens is that you're never
Ping ball.
safe and you're never completely out of it, and that's what Ding has got to hang on to. But it's going to have to take something pretty special from here for Ding Junhui to reverse this scoreline. A superb break of 106 from John Higgins, the 1051st of his stellar career. To Snooker Championship, 3-0 up now on Ding Junhui, and by far the highlight of the evening just now. 106 break in a frame that lasted just 11 minutes, the first two having been rather long, drawn-out affairs. Error-strewn. Ding hasn't been able to get anything going. That's reflected in his pot success, which incredibly is now below 50%. His highest break, just 24. Very tight rivalry, remember, between this pair. 28 meetings, one of which was a draw in the old Premier League. Higgins just edging it 14-13. But he has won the last 4. Most recently the Players' Championship last year. That was a best of 11.
1.
I'm sure Ding Junhui left the table thinking he'd played a pretty decent containing safety, but John managed to flick that red in with a bit of side. And this is the, well, it's the first time tonight we've seen a chance
8.
for someone to, at the start of the frame, stay on blacks.
9.
Nice angle in the black, should he wish to go into the red directly above the black. Try and open reds up. You think he'd be guaranteed some sort of position on those two reds to the left of the table. Oh, he's decided against it.
60.
It must be so difficult for these players when they're out there with the prize that's on offer, not to think ahead. In sport, you're always told to stay in the moment, play the shot that you're going to play, and don't think of anything else. But it must be so difficult when that carrot's been dangled.
$1 million, remember, if you can make a 147 and then pop that extra
70.
golden ball sitting behind the brown on the baulk cushion. That equates to about £765,000, well over a third more than you'd get for lifting the world title for one frame.
Well, as commentators, we always look at the body language of the player whenever they play shots like that, and straight away the body language tells us that this is end of break. I'm not sure if he was looking at the double, the red on the right cushion, but he's got this match by the scruff of the neck. So there's no point in taking on ridiculous pots to try and make the magical number.
I think you're right. For a moment he was tempted, and there are a few better doublers in the history of the game than Higgins, but common sense prevailing there.
Has Ding Junhui got anything else to, or anything left to offer in this match? One thing's for certain, there's got to be a radical improvement in his game if he's going to get back into it.
Sat out the previous frame to that century from Higgins, getting on for nearly half an hour since he's potted one. He's potted very few this evening. His highest break remains just 24. Pot success of just 48%. There can't have been many times in Ding's illustrious career when he's had stats like that against his name. Higgins still in the 80s, even despite that century.
Well, he deserves that. Excellent kiss on the brown to push it towards the corner pocket. It was a nice clip on the red. Okay, shot to nothing, but you're playing the pot. One good positional shot here. It could be the end of this match. Making the centre in the last frame is maybe feeling good at the moment, John Higgins. Oh, and that's absolutely perfect. He could not pick the cue ball up with his hand and place it any better.
Six.
That's one thing. The best players in the world have always been. It's why they're the best players in the world. When they get a chance to get over the winning line, they don't hesitate. So many players, and it's what separates the best from the rest. So many players see the winning line and start to tighten up a little bit and struggle to get over it convincingly. But this man at the table has never. I say never. There was a period, sort of, as Philip was saying earlier on, a 4-year period where he just sort of got in winning positions in matches and struggled to do it. But he's refound that. He's, again, the animal that he used to be.
29.
Proof that even the very best can have doubts. And having come so close so often, Higgins was beginning to doubt whether he still had what it took, but he proved last season emphatically that
30.
he does. And that was a huge weight off his shoulders to end that 4-year drought. Winning the World Open and then adding the Tour Championship in such impressive style from a losing position against Selby.
36.
And isn't it just like John Higgins to win 2 really scrappy frames to go 2-0 in front with literally 2 30 breaks and win the last 2 in one visit, one score and visit.
43.
Just for a moment, it looked as though something history-making might be underway for Higgins at the start of this frame. He was unlucky not to land as he wanted to going into the pack. But he's got stronger and stronger as this match has gone on, overcoming those awkward frames
51.
and then really putting his foot on the pedal to finish the job in style, which he's surely going to do now. And for Ding,
52.
an evening to forget. He came through comfortably enough in terms of the score earlier against the wild card, but perhaps not convincingly in the way he played, and he's been found out this evening. So he will now be turning his attentions to a tournament where he's enjoyed a lot of success, the UK Championship.
58.
Qualification for which gets underway this weekend, but John Higgins still very much in the picture here in Riyadh.
Yeah, I would suggest lots to work on for Ding Junhui on the practice table.
60.
He looks bereft of confidence, and his technique as well doesn't look sound at the moment, especially as I keep saying with power.
65.
And the long, especially in the long game. So yeah, work to be done for Ding, but yeah, John has found gears in this match. Finishing this match off in style. 2
72.
lovely breaks. First couple of frames, he
73.
really struggled to find 2 or 3 good positional shots in a row, but the last 2 frames he's had the cue ball on a string.
$80. $81.
The complete match player, showing his full arsenal of skills, the ability to scrap it out when required, play the necessary tactical shots to get on top. But then when afforded the chance to score, he's taken it very impressively. And
88.
Ding has had no answers on this occasion. It's going to be a 5th straight reverse at the hands of John Higgins for the Chinese.
$91. $95.
This for century number 13 of the season. What a way to finish. That's got the crowd going, and it's been a very good one for this opening day in Riyadh. And they've been treated to 2 outstanding breaks from one of the all-time greats of the game, who clears to the pink. A superb century from John Higgins, his 2nd in a row to finish the match in style.